Recording in progress.
Welcome, everyone, to the meeting of the Middle School Building Committee. This is Monday, November 20th. We're located at the Savage Center, room 219. This meeting is a hybrid meeting. With that, let me start with the public comment section. Do we have anybody, in the room who would like to speak? Mr. Morrison.
Good evening. Rick Morrison. I'm involved with the youth sports in the town and the fields and that sort of thing over a number of years, 30 odd years as a matter of fact. And several weeks ago we had an on-site meeting, and there was several of the people here attended. And there was a little bit of a Murphy's rule factor involved there, because I had a set of plans that showed this concession stand situated in a certain direction. And the set of plans that were presented at that meeting showed the concession stand window facing in the opposite direction. That came about because the original plan was a safety issue. There was cars were able to drive around the original concession stand, and the window was facing the utility road that's going around the building, and it was too close to the sidewalk. So I brought that up, and everybody agreed that that was a safety issue and it would be addressed. So on a following meeting, an alternate plan was presented, and it was given to me by Mr. McCarthy. And it showed the concession stand window facing the existing natural fields, as opposed to facing where the synthetic field is going. At that meeting, I had my plan duplicated, and I had footnotes on it and things like that. So in the course of that meeting, presentation took place, and I didn't realize until after the meeting that meeting was about the original direction of the concession window, the concession stand, so it had flipped back. I had thought through that meeting that we were talking about the concession stand facing fields 1 and 2. So I would like to revisit that. I'll take the hit on it. I should have paid more attention, but I was focused on my footnotes and the map that I had, the plan that was given to me. So I would like a chance to revisit that, because there are a lot of advantages to having a concession stand window facing the existing 2 fields as opposed to facing the synthetic field. They're in close proximity to those fields. The route for all of the people going and coming from those 2 fields is set up ideally for the concession stand window to be located in that direction. I went over the 2 plans and with the rec department, and they agreed that safety-wise and for convenience-wise, that they would prefer the concession stand window facing those 2 fields, 2 existing fields. They have a lot of field activities up there, and the problem, I know that this isn't on the agenda, so I don't know how it's going to be dealt with, but the problem with when it faces the synthetic field is you don't get to, who's ever in the concession stand has no view of the upper fields, of fields 1 and 2. And those are going to be the busiest fields. They will, historically, they always were, and they will continue to be so. And any activities, the way that the plan is designed, anybody that comes down from the field, whether it's people watching the games or whether it's a recreation department event, they come down from the field and they go onto a little plaza area. And if that concession stand window is there, any type of transactions that take place, like selling the sweatshirts, that sort of thing, they have a view of where all the kids would be on that little plaza area. So it's ideally set up, and so I hope we can revisit that, because I think the other way would be a forever problem.
Okay.
So I'm sorry about that. That's Mr. Murphy.
Okay, comments from anyone?
Mr.
Paul?
Chairman, can I make a motion?
Yes.
I would make a motion that Rick and Darren just sit down and correct it the way Rick would like to feel orientated. And then we can finally put the storage sheds to bed, we can put this snack bar to bed.
Do we have a second to that
Second.
motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any further comments from the public in the room? Chase, anyone online?
There are no hybrid participants, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then I...
Just an update, we do keep, the project email is open, there's
Yeah,
no new
okay.
correspondence.
Good, then I'll declare public comment as closed. We have approval of minutes, the September 11th meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Excuse me. Next item on the list are approval of invoices from September and October of 2023.
Motion to approve invoices. A second.
Motion made and seconded on approval of the September and October invoices. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Again, thank you very much. All right. Project update.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. We'll start with some progress photos and just as a benchmark, kind of give you a little bit of reference here. This was end of September. Site status, you can see the foundation well progressed at this point, site work ongoing up to the end of October. The biggest difference, obviously, the steel starting in Zone C on the plain right side of the building. So this has been our go-to kind of marquee project tracking photo here. Similar view, or other end of the view looking towards section C. Your plan right to left, you can see where steel started, closest to the building, and they're working their way from C to B to A across the building. So pretty helpful shot from the Rich team, gives you a real sense of the scale of the building, size and progress as you go on a monthly perspective. So we'll keep this series going, the month-to-month comparison. More specific, photo on the right with the first two columns to go up. And the photo on the left is a sense of the underground activity that's been coordinated to support the new electrical service and electrical room fit out. So quite a bit of effort here over the last month. More steel progress photos. This is the roof trusses in the gym on the right. Again, gives you a sense of scale of the volume of space. And steel progress over the last month here. That's been primary activity on site, obviously steel. They've been moving right along. They were actually able to start a bit early, which is great. And pretty smooth sailing with routine inspection as we go through the process. Again, current activity on site and what you can expect in the month ahead. Foundations were completed. We're on a full court press with steel for the next month here as we move forward on site. Underground utility work around the building as well is continuing, but primarily it's steel within the building footprint for safety. Obviously, don't want people working under one trade or another, so it's a full court press on steel for the month ahead. We did complete a hydrant repair replacement that required a building outage that we coordinated with Water Department, DPW, and Marco on the administration side to avoid disruption. That was completed last Friday, through the weekend. This bottom note get cut off here, but with steel progressing quickly, we are targeting a topping off ceremony for December 20th. Details are still in the works. We've got a bit more coordination to iron out as far as exactly when and where on site that will take place, but the beam is being delivered early to facilitate signing by the staff and students and community. We're going to locate that just within our project fence on site so we can keep an eye on it and keep it safe, and we'll coordinate visitors through the school department. But more details to come. Like I said, we have to iron that out, but it is a nice event. Big progress milestone project as well, which is exciting. So more to come, but 20th is on the calendar. Coordination update, critical path for us, obviously with sophisticated MEPs and multi-story building, and getting everything to line up with structural steel, et cetera. That progress is well underway. Completed the underground, the roof, and we're working through first floor and slab penetrations now. We'll continue through second, third, and fourth floor to the new year. Just a couple examples of why it's so critical in doing this through modeling with Rich's team and leading that with the mechanical contractors. We get to avoid in the field disruptions. So this is one example. In the kitchen, we knew we had some conflicts between the lighting and the ductwork, so we were able to resolve that in advance, avoid some future change order and schedule disruptions. So it's been a very helpful process for us as the project continues. Somewhat similar scenario with after PE, but the solution here was we dropped that ceiling plane about 6 inches from 10 feet to allow for all those MEPs to be installed without conflict. So, a couple example of that effort. That's been a weekly meeting for our team with all the stakeholders, and it's been paying dividends for the project in general as we move forward. Certainly helps us on the back end when the field construction takes place. So, been a great job being led by W.T. Rich, which has been helpful. Some other meetings in summary, just again over the last month and looking ahead. Obviously, we have our standing meetings, our weekly owner, architect, contractor team meetings on Wednesdays, where we iron out RFIs, submittals, site details. Super productive each Wednesday. Been pretty good and helpful to the team as well. But Rich schedules their pre-con meetings and kickoff meetings as we go. We had our steel pre-con meeting last month, as well as our commissioning kickoff, envelope kickoff. You can see here, I won't read them through, but looking ahead, we're going to continue our OAC meetings, and we have PCO review meetings as well. I know we attached the PCO log from the last month. Those are in progress. That's everything that's open. And we really work through the nuts and bolts of scope and decision making and any questions and comments through those meetings on a bi-weekly basis. From a user standpoint, we are coordinating with the IT director for some technology demo. After the new year, we're going to begin our FF&E review, which will be led by AI3 and their consultants. So after the new year into the spring, we'll meet again with the user groups, make sure we've got what we want and the quantity we need, and make those final selections, which would then allow us to finalize our scope package for bid and buyout as the project continues. So that's going to happen after the new year. And again, we're coordinating with the IT department in the next month to start some of the technology review and do some demos and literally touch and feel some of those pieces of equipment so we can understand what we're getting and make sure those submittals are reviewed appropriately. So this is a summary of construction administration over the last month. Again, site activities, with foundations being completed, steel starting, we have ongoing weekly third-party inspections, testing was completed, field reports being issued. We meet monthly with Gary for inspectional progress meetings. If there are any action items, they get recorded through the project Procore project website, and they get tracked and closed out through the design team to make sure they get corrected accordingly. But, so far, that's been going well. It's been a smooth process, and obviously hand in hand with Gary as we go. From a document standpoint, 549 submittals to date, 238 RFIs, 20 PRs, which are all in process and being administrated through AL3. And a quick summary on MSBA communication. The next step now that we bid the project is we have to solicit a bid amendment provision to the project funding agreement. So we did submit that back in October on the 6th. The next step in that process is that MSBA would propose a final project funding agreement. Through that vehicle, that's where any adjustment to the reimbursement rate through the additional funding, the IRA funding through the state, any adjustment to the funding agreement would happen through that mechanism at that time. I know there was a question of, do we have any sense of time frame and next steps there? We've reached out to MSBA earlier today. Don't have a date to circle on your calendar, but we know it's in process. They did acknowledge receipt, that it was received and in process. But no firm commitment on timeline, nor did they offer any type of financial forecast on what that potential reimbursement adjustment may be. But we'll continue to check in every few weeks or so. Right now, ball in court is MSBA. No action needed by the town at this point. And as far as reimbursement requests, 22 is processed, 23 is in process, and we just signed 24. Will go in by the end of this week. Those have been going smoothly so far, so
Nice.
We'll continue that process. It's been pretty seamless. Next update, just an overall budget update. Just to point out, just without being last month, we're just tracking from September. Key update this month is that change order 2, which you'll see in the slides ahead here, actually yielded a small credit. And with that, the PCO forecast, which again is attached in the back, has actually gone down a bit. So we actually restored some funding to the contingency here. And no change to the bottom line of the overall project budget this month. So to summarize potential change order 2, and if I may, I have a couple of visual slides, Mr. Chairman. with
Okay,
respect to
sure.
8 and 17, but just a quick summary. PCO 5, obviously the largest dollar value through W.T. Rich's team and their subcontractors. We had some scope efficiencies that we were able to take advantage of between our budget and the design to streamline some of the underground utilities, which yielded that almost $70,000 in project savings this month. So that was a big help and a team effort with both the subcontractor and the Rich team. Save a few bucks. The next item, PR5, was a proposed tree screening effort in response to some public comment received during the permitting process with the tree warden. So that's on the table for consideration, and I have a slide I can show you where those trees are proposed. And these smaller items, really just processing through, RFIs and our OAC coordination through the project, more or less a wash here. These bottom items, we've got these shaded gray, and the reason we've got these broken out is because we're proposing right now that these costs be accommodated through a construction cost hold, essentially the CM contingency, with the understanding that we feel there's room in that CM contingency based on the buyout of the project to date to accommodate those costs. And you can see the offset of their value through the use of that CM contingency. With the understanding that if for some reason we find that as the project progresses, if for some reason that cost were to be needed for true construction costs, then we may in the future potentially have to refund that contingency with Rich. We think that's unlikely, highly unlikely of being needed, but essentially we've made an agreement that we'll draw down that CM contingency to fund those costs now. If for some reason we go over, we may revisit those in the future, but we don't anticipate that right now. So the total proposed value is actually a net credit this month of $30,787. I know I've got a motion here. But just on the trees specifically, the two items that have been proposed. One is an effort to maintain the existing trees along the Little League field to offer some shade. That was, again, public comment received from the tree warden during permitting. So you can see the current plan with the sidewalk and the drive path closer to Little League, and these trees were proposed to be removed. This alternate plan reconfigures this parking lot a little bit. I think we lose 3 or 4 parking spaces roughly.
They're actually relocated to the other end of the parking lot.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep, so we didn't lose anything.
Nice.
And an alternative path of travel to maintain that shade and those trees. So that's the Little League proposal. The next item was the lawn where the bus parking is proposed to the south side of the property. I believe there's 44 or 45 shrubs here, evergreen shrubs, being proposed for additional screening. Again, in response to a public comment from the tree board. So to give you a visual sense of what's proposed there and included in this change order too. I'll pause there, Mr. Chairman, if there's any questions or further discussion.
Questions from anyone?
So on the bus trees, those are evergreens?
They're called out as, I believe they're cedars and spruce.
Yeah, those,
And Aaron has double checked.
those would
That's
be,
what was-
yeah.
I couldn't read it from here, but you're probably right, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
They were supposed to be evergreen.
Evergreens, yes.
And how tall are they? From the
what-
ground up?
Can you go to that sketch? It might, if you pull up, go to that sketch.
I don't know that I can zoom in.
Can you zoom in on the lower left?
Can't without,
I'll open the live file here.
Yeah. I can't read that. Can you read
It's
that?
gotta be.
Yeah. No.
Way too old for that.
Is that 7'4" and 6'2"?
Roughly 7 feet on average between the two of them.
Looks like, yeah, 7'4", and what's the one? 6 something?
Looks like 6'2".
So
Roughly 6 to 7 feet.
what would be an estimate if we went with some bigger trees? Because we really are gonna impact, the one house that gets really impacted is right behind this, the parking lot. Just,
I don't know off the top of my head, Paul. I
Yeah.
think we'd probably have to respec it and reprice it with the subcontractor.
What if you
True
go
cost
like a
delta.
faster over tree? Like arborvitae's or something?
There's probably a mix in there.
This is showing where the current buses are? Like it's the same parking lot we're looking at, or?
Very similar. This is actually the new layout. This is the
But it's in this
very
similar
similar
vicinity that we're
proximity.
currently at?
Yes, yeah, very similar.
And in weird way, Teresa, you can actually see the two, both different configurations. You can see the old and the new there. See how the lines kind of make X's? It's so, it's
Yeah.
shaded a little weird there, but.
Yeah,
Oh, I
it's-
see.
But yes, it's the exact same area.
I see, okay, thank you.
Red cedar in the color.
You know, I will say, I don't, do you want to consider alternative trees? Paul, is that where you're?
I just think the bigger the better coming out of the chute versus we put 7-foot trees there and say, oh, but in 5 years, they'll grow and they'll be full. If we can afford to put in 12-foot trees, we get to the maximum privacy a lot quicker. And I don't know what the delta would be for the cost of the trees, like, you know.
If that's a charge of the committee, I mean, we could hold that out. It's certainly not a critical time
Right,
decision.
yeah.
We have time to revise if you'd like to consider alternatives.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably need fewer trees because it's a larger caliber and a larger root ball,
Right.
Right,
but,
so maybe the delta's not even that
you
big.
know,
Right.
take a look.
Yeah, we can ask our landscape architect to update that sketch with larger trees. Like you said, Alan, it'll probably be fewer trees, so
Yeah.
we can update it and get over to Rich and
Yeah.
get a price on that.
Okay, you know, maybe a couple of different options.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Thank you.
All right, if we defer, I mean, okay.
We could take a vote on the trees that are staying, the Little League trees, right?
Yeah, those, that would not be impacted.
Right.
Was there any harm on just voting on it as is, knowing that we're bringing it back? I mean, we're at least doing that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether it makes sense to vote for this as is with the understanding we're bringing it back, or taking out the cost we have now for tree screening and come up with another option, you know, another change order later. Again, I don't know what's the cleanest way of doing it. Thoughts, anyone?
I think that second way would be
Probably
cleaner.
withhold
To
it, yeah.
cleaner to take it out?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's cleaner.
So if that's the case, and we want to approve the change order, then we have another $38,110 of credit.
I can read you the new
Yeah.
value if you'd like, Mr. Chairman. So the amended credit amount would be $68,897.
Okay. And because we're taking this out, change of 8, it's not that we're not going to do change order 8, just so people understand, that just we're looking at different options, and then we'll come back at a later date and vote on it. Okay, everybody understand?
We're not making money at the moment.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll see what the costs are. All right, any further discussion on change order number 2?
Yeah, it looks great, though. This is really good.
Good.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve change order number 2 in the credit amount of $68,897.
Second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Great, thank you very much. 60.
So just to round out the budget discussion, we did include the PCO log. We update this each month, we'll attach it here. Mike, just to clarify, these are all in progress, that's why they're a forecast value. It may change certainly as we go time and review. But this is just a snapshot in time based on the last 30 days of what's open. And that's the basis for the forecast and the budget.
You realize how difficult this is for us older people to
You know,
read
I-
this small print? I mean, you, okay.
Full upsize.
Yeah,
We're gonna-
okay, fine.
Full upsize in future meetings, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Okay, great,
I can also distribute it electronically after the meeting, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, for reference as well.
good. All right. Item number 8 is vote for preservation of trees along Little League Field, but since we've essentially done that in the change order, I think that's just basically a completed task.
Yes.
All right, AI3 amendments 5 and 6.
Just a summary of Amendment 5. There was additional services to monitor the removal of there's an underground oil tank that had to be disposed of. We did have the construction cost and an allowance, but there was additional oversight for AI3, which is the basis for this amendment here.
Okay.
I don't know if you have any discussion or questions, I'll defer to you, Darren, if there's any further clarifications.
Any questions?
Yeah. Seeing no questions, would someone be willing to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve AI3 contract amendment number 6 to provide additional geotechnical services in the amount of $22,440.
Okay.
Oh, I jumped one.
Yeah, well, we'll do
No.
number 6 first.
Vote to approve AI contract amendment number 5 to provide additional UST removal services in the amount of $11,726.
Second.
Okay, so we're doing number 5. Did anyone? Okay, we'll do number 6 later, okay? Amendment number 5. Further discussion? Seeing none? All in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll second Mr. Lane's motion for amendment number 6.
Okay, very good.
Nice. Way to go, Bob.
Yep.
You owe me.
And once they get out quickly, I guess. All right, any further discussion on that? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Excellent, thank you very much. That takes care of the items on the agenda. Do we have anything else? Excuse me, anything else people would like to bring up?
Can we just get, I think, what are we, the 11th for December is the meeting? Do we have dates for January, February, March yet?
I don't know whether we've announced anything yet.
Could we have?
We haven't made any decisions.
Okay, can we have, can that
Beyond
be
the
a?
11th.
I mean, do you have a conflict of any type?
No, but just the farther out, the better, because we got some stuff going on in the schools, so.
Okay.
And then, will you, just as soon as you have information on the topping off ceremony. Pass those along, please.
I will do that. What I will do is, I'll send it to Dave. Dave can distribute it accordingly to school personnel. That'll be a good day. Okay, anything further from anyone? Seeing none, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Made and seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous. Thank you very much.